time. What do you say to that?
Absolutely ridiculous. I don't paint.
That ball is history. A walk-off home run.
And it's going to be legendary.
James Pledger wraps your day with insight, opinion, plenty of sarcasm, and of course, your calls. He'll even pour a beer out the door for his favorite story of the day. This is Extra Innings with Pledger. Now, here's Pledge.
What's up, Danger? Can't stop me now.
Welcome into Extra Innings with Pledger right here on San Antonio Sports Star, 94.1 FM, sasportstar.com. I am James Pledger. Appreciate y'all joining me this evening, however y'all may be joining me, whether that's on 94.1 on your FM dial, if you happen to be locked in listening live at sasportstar.com via our AA Best Bail Bonds audio player, or if you happen to be watching the show live on our YouTube channel. That's right, all of our shows are streamed live on YouTube. You can just go there, search SA Sports Star, go ahead and like, subscribe. You can comment along with the show as it happens. I see y'all, Sam, Huggo, Fred Records, everybody already in the chat. Huggo asking quick question, Bills fans, after 1 week, are you already saying Super Bowl? Look, they've got a really good football team, and they're going to be in the mix. I'm not calling anybody a Super Bowl team currently because there is a lot of road to hoe. You have injuries that will be a factor throughout the year and how you do with that. So, pump the brakes on Super Bowl or not, but lots of moves being made around the NFL to try and strengthen your case, that including the Cowboys bringing in Jadeveon Clowney for a look-see in case maybe they need to make a quick signing at some point. But they should have a corner on speed dial, especially right now with news of the Deron Bland injury and the potential of missing some time there. It's going to be very interesting. We'll get into the Cowboys and everything going on up in Dallas in a bit. But first, early this morning on the Morning Huddle, the guys were joined by Texas A&M head coach Mike Elko, in which will be a weekly contribution to the Morning Huddle on Wednesdays at 8:15. You will hear the head coach of the Texas A&M Aggies, Mike Elko. And so I will bring you a portion of that right now here on Extra Innings with Pledger on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
Let's go to the Buyers Barricades guest line, where our guest is the head coach, the undefeated head coach of the Texas A&M Aggies, at least in 2025, Mr. Mike Elko. Coach, how are you, sir?
I'm doing good. I appreciate the intro there.
I mean, yeah, never
good.
Never
I
lost.
Like
Yeah, you get to enjoy that for a minute.
I like it. Yeah, enjoy that while we can in this profession.
Coach, let me get your overarching thoughts through the first two games. You guys have offensively been very good. Defensively, I'm curious to get your thoughts. I would say probably less good than you guys hoped you would be, but you tell me what's the feel in the locker room, or in the coach's room, even through two games this season.
Yeah, it's been interesting. I think we've answered a lot of the questions that we wanted to answer. Could we get more explosive in the passing game? Could Marcel Reed take the next step? Could we do better defending the pass on defense? And I think those three things have turned out well through two games. Obviously, the level of competition is about to go really high, but we're excited about that. And then obviously within the first two games, there's things that you got to clean up and you got to fix. And I think defensively we got to tackle better. We got to be a little bit more consistent, but certainly excited with what our highs have looked like and what we're capable of.
Coach Mike Elko joining us here on the Morning Huddle. Coach, let's get kind of a broad spectrum question. When you got here, there was a lot of talk about changing culture and getting things to kind of more align with what you want to have done. What are the steps behind that, but behind building a new culture apart from just different talent?
Yeah, I think it's a daily process to kind of establish your ideology into the organization, and we believe in living life a certain kind of way. There's an accountability to what we want to be about. There's a blue collar toughness and work ethic to what we want to be about, and there's a humility to what we want our program to look like. And so I think it's every day instilling those traits into your organization from top down, from the coaches to the players to the support staff to everybody who's in and around it. And I think, to me, organizational culture is critical when you talk about being really, really successful. And I think we're just still in the initial stages of building that championship pedigree here at Texas A&M.
You spent some time at Texas A&M before you were the head coach. You spent some time actually at Notre Dame, places where football is king. But talk about maybe the differences between being the head coach, the head football coach at a place like Duke versus a place like Texas A&M, and how different is the job when you're at a school that lives and breathes football versus a school like Duke?
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, the core of the job is the same. What you're trying to do, how you're trying to impact young people, how you're trying to build a program. Obviously, the resources, the stage, the ultimate ceiling of your program, I think are the things that were very attractive about coming back to Texas A&M. This is a place that has the ceiling that is the premier program in all of college football. We've got to find the right blueprint to get us there, right? And we've got to build and develop this thing into everything it's capable of being. But that's what you get at a place where the passion, the support, the resources are at an elite level.
Let's talk about the Notre Dame football team for just a second. Jeremiah Love. You've seen already a running back of status with the UTSA kid. Jeremiah Love is a very good running back. When you see a back like that, what's the first intent? Is it to corral? Is it to keep him in situations where he doesn't get the ball where he wants? What do you do to stop a back like this, or at least try to slow him down?
I think corral is the right word. I think you've got to eliminate his space. I think you've got to leverage him back to your help and your support. He in every game there is a run where he gets into big space, and that is a very scary proposition to try to get him down when he gets behind his shoulder pads and gets running. And so I think it's limiting his ability to get going, controlling the line of scrimmage, and hopefully doing some things offensively on the scoreboard to maybe get them out of a comfort zone where they can consistently pound him with the football.
Last year you guys, Marcel Reed had his most success when it was kind of a surprise, him coming out and doing things that nobody was really game planning for. How different has it been getting him prepared, knowing that, hey, you're the guy, you're going to have to do this and everybody's going to know what's coming. You're going to have to do it anyway. And how has he responded to that role?
Yeah, I think he's responded really well. I think he's completing about 67% of his passes. He's got 8 touchdowns, no turnovers. He's got some really talented weapons around him, and I think he just looks really comfortable in what we're trying to do in the system offensively. And I think he was never in that spot last year. He was never that comfortable, coming in not as the number one, still learning, still growing. Felt like he was always swimming upstream a little bit with some of that stuff last year. And I think he's done a phenomenal job of putting himself in a position to really have a great pulse on what we're trying to do and how we're trying to go about it on offense. And I think that's shown through the first 2 games.
Sure has. Coach, you talked about the weapons he has around him and your 2 receivers that came from elsewhere, Craver and Concepcion. Was there a moment when you saw these kids hit practice where you went, oh my goodness, these guys were everything and then some? Because it seems of all the things we expected this year, we expected to see an improvement there on the edges, but not like this.
Yeah, I think when you go against yourself through spring ball, through fall camp, you're always hopeful that what you're seeing is 2 really good wide receivers and not a really bad secondary, right? That's always the problem when you play against yourself. And we felt like we had really good corners, and we felt like those 2 kids created a lot of separation on them. And so it's been good to see that play out through 2 games. Obviously, this is going to be a big challenge for us with Notre Dame secondary and the amount of man-to-man coverage they're going to try to play against us. It'll be a really good opportunity to see if how much better we've gotten and can we do it in this stage.
I want to ask you about the environment, because obviously you've got experience there, and Texas A&M. Now, this isn't all your fault, but Texas A&M outside of COVID hasn't had a winning road record since 2014, and I know that's something that you're eager to change. But obviously, the probably the 3 toughest games on your schedule, Notre Dame, LSU, and Texas, are all road games. What's this environment like, and how do you prepare your guys for it, and also how are you preparing your guys differently to try and make these road woes go away?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, I think it's going to be an electric environment. Obviously, it's a great stadium. It's a great history. They've got a tremendous fan base. Two ranked teams playing in South Bend on a Saturday night. The energy and the electricity in the air will be awesome. I think in terms of our preparation, I think part of the road woes is joining the SEC. I think it's a challenge playing on the road in this conference, and that is most of our road games. And so we're getting more and more accustomed as a program to getting into these environments. We did a good job last year going down to the Swamp and winning. We won at Mississippi State, but then we had some slip ups down the stretch, and so I think being in those situations, learning, growing, are things that we're trying to do. And obviously, we've been preparing for playing on the road since spring ball with cadence and all of that stuff, because we knew what you said. We've got 3 really, really big games on the road this year that we're going to have to go play our best football.
A question about the game, and if like the elevator pitch, if I ask you, Aggies win the game at Notre Dame, what's the if? What do they got to do? What do you got to do?
Yeah, if we have more explosive plays than them, I think if we're able to create separation in the passing game, if we're able to hit some home run shots and win on the perimeter, and if we're able to eliminate the running backs from getting into big space and ripping off long runs, I think that's going to be our recipe to success.
I'm curious your thoughts on the guy standing across the field from you this week, Marcus Freeman. He seems to really he's certainly got his flaws, but he seems to really thrive in these big game opportunities. What are your thoughts on Marcus Freeman as a coach, and what do you think the keys are to shutting down his teams in general?
Yeah, I mean, I've got a ton of respect for Marcus. I've known Marcus for a long time. Marcus was at Kent State back when I was at Bowling Green, and obviously was a really good player at Ohio State. And so, I've known him for a long time. It's been great to see another defensive coach flourish. Anytime defensive coaches are doing a really good job, that's great for us as all the offensive guys seem to get all the headlines nowadays. But to go up there, we have to play really good football. I mean, there's just no way around it. Last year it was a heavyweight fight. 2 teams threw a lot of blows at each other. Ultimately, they pulled away in the fourth quarter. Expect it to be a very similar game, and we're going to have to do a better job of finishing and trying to make more plays this year to win it.
We talked about your wide receiver, and we didn't even bring up Bussey. When we talk about your running back room, it's also incredible. But I want to talk about EJ more for just a second. EJ, the way that EJ blocked a couple of what is the meaning? How important is a kid like EJ to your team?
Yeah, I think when you talk about culture, like those are the things that you're talking about, right? That's where it shows up. And so it's a guy willing to play with unbelievable effort to make blocks that maybe don't create individual praise for himself, but help us as a team win, right? And that's ultimately how organizations elevate. And that's what we have to do here at Texas A&M. We've got to take this program and elevate it to where we want it. We can't just keep yelling that we want it to go somewhere, right? And it's plays like that, to me, that make all the difference. It's players like that. It's that type of team morale that will ultimately get us where we want to go.
Well, where do you think you guys are on that path? Like, obviously, there was a lot made of Jimbo saying we're not an 8-4 football program, and they consistently were an 8-4 football program. How far do you think you guys are, and how much more is there to grow into what you guys want to be? Like, what percentage along the path are you of where this football program is going to be?
Yeah, I mean, obviously that's a challenging thing to say. I think we've made tremendous strides. I think we've put ourselves in a position where we're very much trending in the right direction. Recruiting is on an extremely strong uptick. We're bringing the right kids and the right players in the program. You're seeing the kids that we're bringing in through the transfer portal having a major impact in what we're doing. We'll find out Saturday night how far along we are and how much further we got to go.
You spent some time in South Bend. For those Aggies that are heading up there, where should we go eat?
Yeah, everyone keeps asking me that, and I swear I don't remember. I got that on the radio show. I got that at media availability on Monday. I cannot think of a place. Like there was a bunch of like bar food that my wife and I enjoyed in Granger, which is where we lived, which is just outside of South Bend. But I really cannot think of a local South Bend establishment that would be
Come on,
one I would
Coach.
encourage. I can't. Bad memories. Bad
Just
memories.
yeah,
of the
Bad
food- of the
memories.
food
That's
game.
the right answer.
Eat
Don't
at
eat any of it.
McDonald's.
Yeah.
At McDonald's, screw those guys.
Get there, get
eat
out.
somewhere out of
Yeah.
Go
town.
back to Chicago where there's the food to be
There's
found.
real food down.
Yeah, now you guys are trying to cause problems.
Yeah, well,
Not us ever, Coach. Not us. Hey, Coach, I saw something in that game last week that I don't see very often. Cassius Howell with 3 straight sacks. What do you got in that player? Because we also saw Myles Garrett almost do that in his game this weekend. What's the upside for a guy like Cassius?
yes.
Yeah, I mean, we obviously he was a kid that we were really excited about. We lost 3 really talented D linemen from last year's team, and Cassius was who we felt like would be our best pass rusher this year, and felt like we could get more production out of him than we got last year. It was great to see him do it. It's the first time in my career I've ever seen a kid do it on 3 straight plays. I'd be hard pressed to say that it's happened very often over the course of time. But he's a twitchy kid. He's a dynamic kid. He's another impact transfer that we brought in from Bowling Green, and it's just been great to see him grow and develop.
Coach, you guys, if you were to get a win here, the schedule opens up a little bit for you guys. Like, at what point do you start thinking, or do you guys just take it 1 week at a time, like the coach speak is, or do you guys start thinking about bigger picture, like, hey, we might have something special here? Because if you can win this game against, arguably the toughest team on your schedule, do you start to feel like, what's our limit?
Yeah, I mean, I think that no matter how this game plays out, there's going to be big games. We've got big games on this schedule. That's what you get when you join the SEC. There's going to be big opportunities, big tests. And I think no matter how this game plays out, we feel like we've got an opportunity to compete to be in Atlanta for the SEC championship and compete to be in the playoff. And so this is just the next step in that process.
Just to ease everybody's fears, Marcel's feeling good, looking good, no worries about injury.
Marcel's feeling good, looking good, ready to roll.
Hey, Coach, one last thing before we let you go. We talked about this earlier in the show. This AP voter who bumped Florida up in the rankings after their loss and left South Florida out. It's easy to say the AP poll, it doesn't really matter, but we talked about how it can skew perspective on things. And if you beat a team ranked a certain thing at the time, that's all people really care about is where were they ranked, even if they were rightfully or wrongfully ranked. How important to you are these poll numbers, or is it just something that you let hash out at the end of the season, or do you really think it matters?
I think the beauty of our sport now is we're ultimately going to get to play for it on the field. And I think for a long time in college football, all of that stuff mattered. How you won games, what it looked like, because you were trying to impress people who were only barely paying attention sometimes, right? Now, I think ultimately the goal is to win enough games to get in the playoffs, and I think that's a little bit more concrete number. And so I think it's more about just doing what we've got to do to get in the playoffs so we get a chance to put it on the field and play.
That was Mike Elko, head coach of the Fighting Texas A&M Aggies. He will join the Morning Huddle every Wednesday at 8:15. So be sure to set your calendars. Wake up with AJ and Rob as you'll get the head coach of the Aggies weekly right here on San Antonio Sports Star. He joined them via the Buyers Barricades guest line. They provide traffic control, rental, and sale for San Antonio and beyond online at buyersbarricades.com. Woo, a lot to get into with what happened right there. I see it in the comments, and Nico Too Tough asking me how I feel about Charlie. And for those of you that may or may not know, Charlie Kirk, a conservative, I guess, influencer would be the best way to kind of put what he does. He goes to college campuses and holds debates with people and is extremely popular. There's only one way to feel about it. It's a tragedy. It's the same as if name person on other side of fence was basically assassinated in public. It's all awful. There's only one way to feel about that. And there's only one way you should be able to feel about that. Nothing good happens when people are murdered, assassinated, however you want to parse what happened up in Utah this afternoon. And it's a tragedy. It's a shame. And it's no different if it was Charlie Kirk or someone else. Violence in this country never should be the answer to anything. We should, a lot like what Charlie does, sit down and have a discussion about it. Hopefully we can shake hands at the end and just agree to disagree, because a lot of people's alignments are what they are, and you're not going to change anybody's beliefs. I mean, that's whether it's religion, politics, sports, a belief is something very, very difficult to change. An idea is easy. You can tweak, you can amend, you can do certain things, but an idea is deeply ingrained in a person, and it is a much more difficult task. I say treat things like this a lot like you would treat, Jerry Jones. Not every move he make is perfect, and you will criticize some of the things, but at the end of the day, we can all admit you're cheering for the Cowboys to do well. At the end of the day, we're cheering for this country to do well. This is Extra Innings with Pleasure. I am James Pledger right here on San Antonio Sports Star, 941 FM, sasportstar.com. If you want to be a part of the conversation, easy to do, 210-656-ESPN, 656-3776, or join us on our YouTube channel. You're always free to comment there and be a part of the conversation. A lot to unpack from Mike Elko. The Blitz did that. They reacted to not only that, but that AP voter that they talked about. How flawed is the system, and does it need to be fixed? We'll discuss coming up right here on Extra Innings with Pleasure on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
The Fall Golf Classic is sold out, but the party's just getting started. 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star invites everyone, yes, even if you aren't playing, to the official Fall Golf Classic after party happening Monday, September 29th at the Break Room Bar off Pat Booker Road. Mad props to this year's tournament sponsor, the law office of Jesse Hernandez, the Texas Chancla, who hits back when life hits hard, and plenty of Sports Star love to Fly by Yingling and PPM Motorhomes too. The Blitz with Jason and Joe kicks off the party live at 2 p.m. So sneak out of work early, call it networking, and raise a glass with us. So whether you're playing in the Classic or just want to crash the party, you're officially invited to the Sports Stars Golf Classic After Party at the Break Room Bar off Pat Booker Road, Monday, September 29th at 2 p.m. sharp. Details at sasportstar.com. See you at the Break Room Bar. Golf shoes not required.
When you're hiring, have you ever felt like you're missing out on meeting truly great candidates for your roles? It seems impossible to find them, but they have to be out there somewhere, right? Well, they're not hard to find when you know where to go, and that place is ZipRecruiter. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day. And because these people are actively looking for jobs just like yours, it's easy to find the right person right away. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. But if you're not using ZipRecruiter, you're missing out. So see what it's like when the impossible is easy. When you go to ZipRecruiter.com/radio right now to try ZipRecruiter for free. Once again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio. Never miss out on great candidates with ZipRecruiter.
If you're 55 or older and into that whole saving money thing, T-Mobile has an exclusive phone and internet bundle just for you. Right now, get 2 unlimited phone lines plus 5G home internet for just $30 each per month with autopay, plus taxes and fees. And with 5G home internet, setup is easy with just 1 cord and no technician needed, which is great if you're also into that whole keeping it simple thing. Switch now and experience the best mobile network in the U.S. Visit your local store to start saving. T-Mobile, it's better over here. Based on analysis by Ookla of speed test intelligence data Q4 2024 to Q1 2025. Ookla trademarks used under license. Unlimited on our network. Customers on voice plan may notice speeds lower than other customers and further reduction if using more than 50 gigs a month due to data prioritization. Video streams and SD on this plan. Home internet pricing after $20 a monthly bill credit plus $5 per line without autopay. Debit or bank account required. See 5G device coverage and access details at T-Mobile.com.
The UTSA football program turns 15 years old. Join us for our 15th season celebration as the Roadrunners play host to UIW in the Hometown Showdown this Saturday at 2:30 p.m. at the Alamo Dome. Log on to goutsa.com/tickets or call the UTSA ticket office at 210-458-8872 to purchase your tickets today. It's the Roadrunners hosting the Cardinals this Saturday in the Dome. Be there, because when we win, San Antonio wins.
Legendary doesn't happen by chance. It happens because it's what BetMGM does. Sign up for BetMGM and check out all the exciting new ways you can make this pro football season unforgettable. Shoot your shot with same-game parlays, call your plays like a pro with live betting, or bet on a market you didn't know existed thanks to BetMGM Originals. You'll be on the edge of your seat from the very first snap, no matter what type of fan you are. Earn BetMGM rewards points on every bet. Take advantage of football offers found nowhere else, like a second chance on a first touchdown bet, and keep an eye out for rewards dropping in your account throughout the season. Never settle for the ordinary. Sign up today. BetMGM. Make it legendary. BetMGM and GameSense remind you to play responsibly. See BetMGM.com for terms. Must be 21 years of age or older. Specific promotional offers are not available in Mississippi, New York, Nevada, Ontario, or Puerto Rico. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Available in the U.S. For New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. For Arizona, 1-800-NEXT-STEP. For Massachusetts, 1-800-327-5050. For Iowa, 1-800-BETS-OFF. For Puerto Rico, 1-800-981-0023. Subject to eligibility requirements in partnership with Kansas Crossing Casino and Hotel.
Oh no, stomach issues again?
Stomach issues?
Who are you?
Your pancreas. I could be the real reason for your diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose oily stools.
I thought it was my stomach.
People often do, but any of these symptoms could mean having a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and speak with your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
In the 80s, everyone was breaking. Break dancing, that is. Lots of moves, spins, flashy colors, and a whole lot of cardboard. Breaking in the 80s was good, but breaking now, not so good. That's why Dave Ramsey recommends Kinetico water softeners in San Antonio and the Hill Country. Seems like many brands of water softeners these days have flashy lights, sounds, and moving parts. Bad news, all those parts are more likely to break and break and break again. With Kinetico water softeners, there are fewer moving parts, and a Kinetico only runs on kinetic energy and is up to 80% more efficient than other competing models. A Kinetico is built to work, not break. That's why a Kinetico is backed by an outstanding 10-year warranty, and right now receive a free reverse osmosis drinking station at your kitchen sink, $400 off with a trade-in of any water softener, and 0% interest for 12 months with approved credit. With a Kinetico, you'll have water soft as parachute pants on the dance floor.
KineticoSA.com.
License number 38961.
If you get arrested, get out of jail fast by calling AA Best Bail Bonds, 210-225-2121. Text bail to 474747 or online at mybestbailbonds.com. You don't have to call attorneys or anybody else. Don't be forced into a PR bond. If the jail offers you one, make sure you understand the conditions before accepting it. AA Best Bail Bonds. Nobody beats their price. They have payment plans. Call 210-225-2121 or mybestbailbonds.com.
License number 149.
It's Extra Innings with Pledger on 94.1 San Antonio's Sports Star.
Welcome back into Extra Innings with Pledger. I am James Pledger here on San Antonio Sports Star, 94.1 FM, sasportstar.com. Appreciate y'all rolling along with me as it was brought up right there at the end of the interview about the polls and the rankings and the things that happen. And the Blitz was having a great discussion earlier today, reacting to some of that Elko interview that included, well, that AP voter that no matter how you slice it, no matter what the excuse or reason may be, just looks bad around for all parties involved.
The Aggies head football coach was on the morning huddle today with Rob and AJ. I don't know if you guys are aware, but Texas A&M has a big game this week.
Yeah, against those hated Domers. The hated Domers up in Indiana, South Bend.
You know, I thought Mike Elko, kind of like Brian Schottenheimer, very open and honest with a lot of his questions. And quite honestly, I questioned all offseason why they didn't go out and get a different quarterback. their belief in Marcel Reed. And the boys asked him about that this morning.
I think he's responded really well. I think he's completing about 67% of his passes. He's got 8 touchdowns, no turnovers. He's got some really talented weapons around him, and I think he just looks really comfortable in what we're trying to do in the system offensively. And I think he was never in that spot last year. He was never that comfortable, coming in not as the number one, still learning, still growing. Felt like he was always swimming upstream a little bit with some of that stuff last year. And I think he's done a phenomenal job of putting himself in a position to really have a great pulse on what we're trying to do and how we're trying to go about it on offense. And I think that's shown through the first 2 games.
Guy's a hell of an athlete. I mean, there's no question about that. He's a hell of an athlete. But he's going to have his first test, although UTSA tested the Aggies for a long time in game 1. And last week was last week, but there's some tough games coming up, and it starts this weekend.
Well, again, I mean, he's happy with his team after the first 2 games, although he even said this week it's going to be a little bit tougher.
We've answered a lot of the questions that we wanted to answer. Could we get more explosive in the passing game? Could Marcel Reed take the next step? Could we do better defending the pass on defense? And I think those 3 things have turned out well through 2 games. Obviously, the level of competition is about to go really high, but we're excited about that. And then obviously within the first 2 games, there's things that you got to clean up and you got to fix. And I think defensively we got to tackle better. We got to be a little bit more consistent, but certainly excited with what our highs have looked like and what we're capable of.
They got to stop the run better. And that's the one thing that they've got to do. I think they can score points, but they've got to stop the run. I'm not, in full transparency, I'm not familiar with Notre Dame necessarily. I know they've got a pretty good quarterback, but I'm sure they've got some great athletes running the football. A&M's got to stop the run.
No, Notre Dame's really, really good. Really good, and they're loaded. One of the things that Mike Elko said this morning on the Morning Huddle with Rob and AJ, and it was one of those questions that sometimes you wonder, are you going to get a real answer or not? But if you dissect and really listen to what Mike Elko says here, it does maybe hopefully give you a little insight into their game plan. They got to swing for the fences in South Bend if they're going to walk out of there with a win.
If we have more explosive plays than them, I think if we're able to create separation in the passing game, if we're able to hit some home run shots and win on the perimeter, and if we're able to eliminate the running backs from getting into big space and ripping off long runs, I think that's going to be our recipe to success.
A lot of ifs there.
Well, there is, but it tells me they won't have a conservative game plan. Remember last year, and granted, last year, Notre Dame opened at Texas A&M. It was Elko's first game. It was low scoring, and Elko was criticized for having such a conservative plan on offense. They played trying not to make a mistake that would cost them. And they didn't try for the big chunk plays. They didn't try for the deep pass. They didn't. It kind of feels like they know if they're going to walk out of there in South Bend, they've got to hit some big plays. They got to try some big plays. They can't call a play that's designed for 4 and hope it turns into 40. They've got to design some plays and execute them that can actually get 40 when they're there. And obviously that only happens if their defense is making some stops and the game is close. But don't be afraid to take a shot. And you listen to that answer, feels like they know they've got to take some shots in order to win this game.
Well, first of all, I'm looking at that Miami film, and I know Mike Elko is, and how were the Hurricanes able to take advantage of Notre Dame? That game's only a 6.5-point game. Notre Dame is a 6.5-point favorite at home. I thought it might be a little bit higher than that, but it's not. And so the Aggies, look, if they do the things that Mike Elko just said, they got a shot at this thing, and it would be great for the Aggies to go up to Notre Dame and come back to Texas with a win.
It would be incredible, although I think most are going to pick Notre Dame, as they should. And in a lot of ways, obviously the SEC is the SEC. But this is like a playoff game, and it will be a playoff-type atmosphere with the home opener up there in South Bend for Notre Dame. And the idea of the playoffs and the way the current format is, and you hear of some coaches,
all this. I think most like it. And Elko said it this morning because all you got to do is get in and then prove it on the football field.
I think the beauty of our sport now is we're ultimately going to get to play for it on the field. And I think for a long time in college football, all of that stuff mattered. How you won games, what it looked like, because you were trying to impress people who were only barely paying attention sometimes, right? Now, I think ultimately the goal is to win enough games to get in the playoffs, and I think that's a little bit more concrete number. And so I think it's more about just doing what we've got to do to get in the playoffs so we get a chance to put it on the field and play.
Well, coming out of the SEC, that gives you a little bit of credibility coming out, but I mean, you're going to have to do well in conference.
Sure.
And that's something the Aggies have struggled with, at least over the last couple of years. So, I mean, that's the key. Beating Notre Dame or losing to Notre Dame is not going to matter in the long run. It's really not going to matter. It's what the Aggies do in that conference schedule.
True, but a game like this 5 years ago kind of eliminates you from the postseason. Your dreams of a national championship likely gone, especially where you're ranked right now at A&M. You start high, and if you lose, you're not going to drop that far, so maybe you can climb back up. But if you're starting with double digits, the chances of you climbing into the top four were slim to none. Now you can go have this game, and it really isn't going to hurt you unless you have some idiot voter. This is one of the now. Granted, the polls do matter, but it's the committee, and you heard Elko. They might half-ass being paying attention. And clearly there are AP voters out there that are even less than half-ass paying attention. I don't know what that is, less than, but I don't know what the real requirements are to become an AP voter. But we all know Florida lost to South Florida in week 2, right? However, one AP voter by the name of Haley Sawyer of the SoCal News Group, she actually on her ballot had Florida moving up 2 spots. And she kept South Florida unranked. Now, we know Florida, they fell all the way to 13th, from 13 to entirely out of the poll, while South Florida actually entered the poll at number 18 because there are some sensible voters, not Haley Sawyer. Now, when I first read this, I was like, Then I heard Haley Sawyer trying to explain herself on TikTok.
But as far as what my votes are and what my process is, I wake up early in the morning after covering a game late in the night before. Don't want to go too much into my progress or process or logic, but I will say I appreciate everybody's interaction on social media and all of your feedback. There's tons of people that vote on the AP poll, and it's not a perfect system, but at the end of the day, no matter who you pick, it does even out because there's so many people who vote. And like I said, it's really fun for discussion. It doesn't, probably matter in the end, but I'm glad that people are having a really good time with it.
What do you mean it doesn't matter in the end? Of course it matters. Your credibility is shot.
It really is, and that explanation is even worse. And I don't know, again, how the AP decides who is a voter or how you get your vote revoked. But every vote matters. In any kind of voting process, whether it's an election or this, it does matter. And you should, as a voter, take it seriously. Most of the journalists that I know that have the privilege to be a voter, whether it's the AP vote, the Heisman vote, whatever it is, they take that very seriously. Coaches in the coaches poll, I know they generally don't. They're not watching all the games, and somebody else probably does this. I have, and the fact that she wouldn't explain her process, which I really need the explanation on her process to have Florida moving up after getting beat by South Florida.
Well, she gets up early in the morning, Jason, and she goes over everything, and she had no clue that Florida lost.
Well, no,
that's the problem.
Well, that's it, though, Joe. I mean, she made her votes the night before, covered a game, and when she woke up this morning, because all those votes are public, people found her, and they're giving her crap. That's what she woke up to. Oh, why are my notifications going nuts? All these people think I'm an idiot. Hee hee.
Well,
what the hell is that?
Well, because you just proved that you are. I mean, come on. I don't know. What is the process? I know our good friend Bob Ballou votes in this.
I know he does, and he takes it seriously. But the problem, and there's been a lot of criticism since this came out, that there are a lot of people that cover teams like Bob, who covers Texas, whoever this girl covers, and you don't watch a lot of the other games. Now, I know that Bob Ballou takes this very seriously, and if he's not watching the games, he's going to go and he's going to at least find out what's happened before he votes. Because, you kind of want to vote after they've played the game,
yes,
not before. Because, it's just, I don't know, they call me crazy. It's just ridiculous, and it impedes the credibility of the AP poll.
It does.
I mean, it does.
Now, and you're right, because her vote was so extreme and everybody else seemingly got it right, hers is canceled out. But I think you just hit the nail on the head. She's a West Coast reporter. I don't know what the deadline is for the AP. She's covering a game. She's in a press box. She is busy. If she's covering, when you're working games like that, believe it or not, people, you are busy. You think she turned in her ballot before the games were over? You think she turned in the ballot assuming Florida was going to win that game by a mile, or thought they had won that game by a mile? That's the only logical explanation.
And if that's the only logical explanation, it's not a great one, just because everybody, as I said, looks bad in this situation. The person looks bad because you either weren't paying attention, didn't care, didn't take the vote seriously, or were just doing it for clicks and engagement, which is a whole nother issue in and of itself and becoming viral in a sense, if you will. The AP looks bad because of the votes being handed out and who they're handing them out to and the credibility of said poll. And the sport looks bad because these votes do matter. The AP poll matters. It is part of the tool that is used weekly in determining ranked opponents, and ranked opponents go a long way into affecting other rankings on how teams fare against them. And love it, hate it, whatever. It is a tool that is used in the end process of determining the 12 best teams that are going to be in the playoffs. And Elko is right in a sense if they get to prove it on the field, and they do. But having a high-ranked opponent helps to move you up those rankings to where you can prove it on the field. This is Extra Innings with Pleasure. I am James Pledger right here on San Antonio Sports Star 94.1 FM, sasportstar.com, and on YouTube at SA Sports Star. Go ahead and like, subscribe. You can comment along with the show as it happens. Texans, well, they're going to need to bounce back. Cowboys, they could be 2-0, but instead they're looking for their first win of the season. How will they approach this game against the Giants? We'll get into both of those next, right here on Extra Innings with Pleasure on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
So we do a giveaway at GiveMeTheVin.com. Every month we're giving away $25,000 to one lucky person that sells us their car. Karen, you there?
I'm here. Karen Gardner of Oceanside, California is the latest winner in GiveMeTheVin.com's big cash giveaway.
What did you sell us?
I sold you a 95 Impala.
And what did we pay you for it?
You guys gave me 18.
18 plus 25,000 because you're the winner, Karen.
Oh my God, you're kidding. You could be next to get a little more, maybe a lot more. You guys are awesome. Keep it up. No purchase necessary. For official rules, go to GiveMeTheVin.com. Sell us your car.
Football is back, baby, and Underdog is the best place to make your picks and win money all season long. You can play it in Texas, too. Guys, it is fun, it is exciting, and it's a great way to get in on the action. Playing is so easy. You pick whether your favorite players are going to go higher or lower on stats like touchdowns, receiving yards, interceptions, and more. And you get it right, you can win up to 5,000 times your cash. You can play with as little as $1. Is Dak going to go higher or lower on passing yards? Will CD score a touchdown or not? All that makes the game a lot more fun. Get in on the action at Underdog Fantasy. Download the app now. Sign up with promo code ALAMO to score $50 in bonus funds when you play the first $5. That's promo code ALAMO. Millions of fans have already won billions making picks on Underdog. Will you be next? Underdog, make picks, win money. Must be 18 plus and present in Texas. Terms apply. See assets.underdogfantasy.com/web/play and get terms _DFS_.html for details. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org.
Got wrecked? Got a pain in your neck? Thomas J. Henry is your next call. Thomas J. Henry has put over $1 billion in our clients' pockets in just 4 years. And we can help you too. Just look at our over 14,000 5-star reviews. The numbers and our clients speak for themselves. So if you've been in a car accident, visit thomasjhenrylaw.com today. Thomas J. Henry, the name you know, the firm you trust. Principal office in San Antonio.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-1783. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-1783. That's 800-575-1783. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Must qualify for enrollment. Results may vary.
Connecticut water systems are the best of the best. I personally have one in my home. All those other water softener systems out there are junk in comparison.
For a limited time, receive a free reverse osmosis drinking station at your kitchen sink. $400 off with trade-in and 0% interest for 12 months with approved credit. Call Connecticut of San Antonio and the Hill Country. 210-656-PURE.
Check them out at ConnecticutSA.com and tell them Dave Ramsey sent you.
License number 38961.
Have pain? Have chronic pain, low back pain, knee pain, neck pain, or shoulder pain? I can help. I'm Dr. Torres at the Institute for Functional Health, and we get to the root of your pain. We don't just give pain medications. We do the proper investigation to see what is the root cause, and it's covered by your insurance. Reduce your medication, avoid surgery, and get rid of pain for good. Call for your free evaluation. I'm Dr. Torres at the Institute for Functional Health, where we get to the root cause of your problem. 210-468-1891.
Let's go! You still got it, but your immune system weakens as you age, making it harder to fight flu, pneumococcal pneumonia, RSV, and COVID-19. Ask your doctor or pharmacist which vaccines you need. Sponsored by Pfizer.
eBay has reinvented vehicle buying. From click to curb, everything's covered. Ever try to buy a car online and end up in a parking lot with a stranger and some blind trust? That era is over. Now with Secure Purchase, eBay isn't just where you find your car. It's where you buy it, start to finish. Title, financing, registration, delivery, it's all built in. This is the modern way to buy your next ride on eBay. eBay. Things people love. Secure Purchase is powered by Caramel Dealer Services, LLC, an eBay subsidiary.
What would you do if you had a little bit more money to do it?
I'd go to law school.
I'd open a bakery.
I'd travel to visit my grandparents I haven't seen in 10 years.
We all have things we want to do in life, and there are people who want to help you do them. So how do we best ask for that help? GoFundMe. GoFundMe is the #1 fundraising platform. 200 million people have used GoFundMe to support people doing things like furthering their education, starting a small business, or bringing people together in support of a cause. No matter what your goals are, GoFundMe helps you take an important step toward them. GoFundMe is free to set up and manage, easy to use, and designed to help you reach your goals.
The community was so supportive in helping me finally open my bakery. Now, every day I wake up and get to do what I love. And it all started with GoFundMe.
What would you do if you had the money to do it? Get started today with GoFundMe. Start your GoFundMe today at GoFundMe.com/power. That's GoFundMe.com/power. GoFundMe.com/POWER. This is a commercial message brought to you by GoFundMe with actors voicing experiences inspired by our users.
The following is a dramatization.
Davis Law Firm, how can I help?
Hola, mi esposo se lastimó en un accidente ayer. ¿Me puede ayudar?
Claro que sí.
Estamos aquí para servirle.
I'm Jeff Davis. At Davis Law Firm, we're here for you 24/7. Our team of Texas attorneys has been helping people injured in car, truck, or 18-wheeler wrecks for more than 25 years. And there's no fee unless we win. Y hablamos español. If you've been hurt, call us at 444-4444.
Davis Law Firm, San Antonio.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance supervisor at a manufacturing facility, he knows keeping the line up and running is a top priority. That's why he chooses Grainger. Because when a drive belt gets damaged, Grainger makes it easy to find the exact specs for the replacement product he needs. And next day delivery helps ensure he'll have everything in place and running like clockwork. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-1783. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-1783. That's 800-575-1783. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Must qualify for enrollment. Results may vary.
When I asked Scott Lucky if his last name had anything to do with his success in the trucking industry, he laughed and said, well, Mike, I guess you could say I've always been lucky. But when I asked him how he and his family grew Lucky Distribution Services into the company it is today, he didn't talk about luck at all. We work hard, he said. We keep a close eye on the bottom line, and we treat our people the right way. In other words, Scott Lucky makes his own luck, which is precisely why he switched to Pure Talk Business. Last month, I paid the big guys $740 for 12 lines, he told me. This month, I paid Pure Talk $420 for the exact same service. Thousands of businesses all over the country are saving real money by switching to America's most dependable 5G network, and luck has nothing to do with it. Just dial pound 250 and say micro. That's pound 250 micro to switch to a wireless company that works as hard as you do. Pure Talk.
San Antonio Sports Star.
Welcome back into Extra Innings with Pleasure right here on San Antonio Sports Star, 94.1 FM, sasportstar.com. I am James Pledger. You can follow me on all the socials at I Am Pledger. Follow the station at SA Sports Star. Sam on our YouTube channel. I guess he really wanted to try and push my buttons today on the show. Just kidding. But he did ask the question that a lot of fans are asking. The Texans, I'm questioning how good CJ really is right now. Look, remember, the Rams were a team, the only team that gave Philly a game last year in the playoffs. That defense is good. Braden Fisk, Jared Burse, they managed to almost beat Philadelphia and probably should have maybe won a Super Bowl themselves if that was the case. They looked really good defensively again on Sunday. But while they look good and the offensive line still showed some issues with consistency and as CJ Stroud put it,
lollygagging and
CJ Stroud went 9 of 10 when facing pressure and 6 of 6 against the blitz. He was missing Christian Kirk. So his wide receivers were Nico Collins, who they did everything in their power to take away, and 2 rookies in Jaden Higgins and Jalen Noel. Let's give the guy a little bit of slack because football is the ultimate team sport where, sure, having one guy, a quarterback helps. That quarterback needs blocking in front of him, like we saw with Joe Burrow. You need all the pieces for it to work. Remember to call and check on your loved ones. You never know what people are going through in life. Coming up next, we got Cowboys Crosstalk right here on San Antonio Sports Star, followed by the Mike Elko Show and the Cowboys Hour. So we will get you all caught up with everything Cowboys and A&M coming up next here on San Antonio Sports Star, 941 FM and SASportsStar.com.
San Antonio Sports Star.
My perfect day has sand, salt water, and friends. But my moderate to severe plaque psoriasis can take me out of the moment. Now I'm all in with clearer skin thanks to Skyrizi, Risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection for adults who are candidates for systemic or phototherapy. With Skyrizi, most people saw 90% clearer skin, and many were even 100% plaque-free at 4